think that it's important because there's a lot of people that have a lot of assets but suddenly fail to have a lot of cash. Hello. Last week for our Easter episode, we discussed the current ratio and how your current ratio is a direct indication of your short-term financial health. Your current ratio is the total of your current assets divided by your current liabilities. My team had a few questions after the episode, which I thought would be important for the viewers of Entrepreneur You to understand as well. Felix, Dr. Abigail, please ask me your questions.
Boss, if somebody is supposed to pay you in a shorter period of time, and I calculate it as my current asset, and the person doesn't pay, what happens?
Good point.
Also, I'd like to know what is the cash equivalent and is inventory considered part of cash equivalent?
Good question. So Felix wants to know that if someone owes him and he's calculated that as part of his current assets and the person doesn't pay, what happens? Dr. Abigail also wants to know if inventory is part of cash equivalent. I think that it's important because there's a lot of people that have a lot of assets but suddenly fail to have a lot of cash. That's because an asset is something that has value, economic value, whether now or later. Current asset is an asset that can turn into cash within a short period of time, usually 1 year or up to 1 year. Your cash equivalent, on the other hand, has a shorter half-life. We're looking at things that you can turn into cash within 90 days. So if you have inventory that you can turn into cash within 90 days, that becomes a cash equivalent. If you have inventory that will take more than 3 months to sell, then that becomes a current asset only if you can sell it within 1 year. If it goes beyond 1 year, it becomes an asset but not a cash equivalent or a current asset. And the nose mask mania is a typical example. How many people had a lot of inventory of nose masks and were able to sell some of them within a short period of time, making them cash equivalent? If they were able to sell them in more than 3 months when the sales slowed down, but were still able to clear their inventory into sales by the end of the year, they became current assets. Now, if you became one of those guys that had nose masks in your warehouse, plenty, but you couldn't sell, you can't term them as assets, but not cash equivalents. And to answer Felix's question about someone owing him and he putting it as a current asset, why risk it? First off, do not lend money to people that will not be able to pay you within a stipulated amount of time. And also, if you were to add it as your current asset, it means that it would improve your ratio, giving you a false idea of your financial security. So your current assets are those that you have surety, that you are very certain that you can turn into cash or cash equivalents within the 1 year period. So that is how assets are different from cash equivalents and how your inventory can fall within all these three categories. And Felix, stop lending money to people that will not pay you. Keep well.
Brought to you by Africa School of Entrepreneurship.